As most of you guys already know, Michigan and Michigan State got into it this weekend. Not just on the field, but off the field as well, as a few Michigan State players decided to Myles Garrett, another Michigan player, possibly a second Michigan player, busting some nose, busting some heads, and we're going to break all that down for you guys today. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Shelton here with Hightop Sports, and before we dive into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're on the way to 4,000 subs, and it'll mean a lot if you guys could drop a little like there and sub before we get this bad boy started. All right, so without further ado, let's dive into it. So there has been multiple videos that have surfaced since this incident on Saturday, and I have been trying to figure out what my take on this whole entire situation is. I never condone violence. I don't think it's okay, but I do understand there's always sometimes a little bit of, you know, rough and tough that could happen with some college football players. So I try to take a step back and make sure that I collected as much information as I could before I came out and made this video. Now, I think there's gonna be more things to surface. It's still pretty soon, but it seems to me that I think we've got all that we're gonna get, and I want to dive into that right now. First video that surfaced was obviously these guys beating up on this college football player from Michigan, number one here. And the first thought is, what the hell is going on? How did this even happen? Where are the rest of his Michigan players? How is this even possible? Well, for those of you who don't know, the Michigan Stadium situation is they all enter into one tunnel, okay? And typically the one team goes in while the second team follows. Well, this young man decided to take it upon his own and skip the line. Here's another video showing him running around the entire Michigan State football team and essentially putting himself into the middle of this bee's nest. If you see this clip, A clip 1 and B clip 2, him getting beat up, him running around, some of you might say, well, he kind of got himself into it, right? He put himself into that situation. He walked into the hornet's nest and got stung up a little bit, got a little picked on, got a little beat up, got a little razzle-dazzle. But then there's a third clip. There's a third clip of this man getting his head bashed in by a Michigan State player with a helmet. Now, you can also hit me with the criticism saying, Shelton, how does one okay and the other one's not okay? Like, where's the line of someone getting beat up? And there isn't, okay? I just kind of was a little bit more on this leniency of, you know, if he's getting kind of just pushed around or shoved around a little bit, like, yo, get out of here. But it seems to be way worse than that, where they took the time to, again, bash this guy's head in with another helmet. Apparently, there's some nose injury that's going on. Jim Harbaugh is very upset with the situation and how it's going down. There's a few other things here that I want to talk about. The first thing is, do we notice the amount of adults that are surrounding the situation that didn't assist at all? They just simply pulled their phones out of the pocket and recorded it. I thought about this because I don't feel like this is the first time this has had to have happened. Right? And I feel like lately we've been getting more and more of these players acting out on the field, hitting somebody, making contact. And I think a lot of it due to is because social media is just at an all-time rage right now, and nobody consumes anything through their eyeballs anymore. It's all through their cell phones. But in a situation like this, I mean, this is the time where you should be consuming with your eyeballs / hands and interfering with this situation. But unfortunately, everyone's instinct now is just to record the situation and not get involved, which it's disgusting to watch, in my opinion. I think there's a guy, an older gentleman here with the Michigan hat, just watching. The guy who's recorded it, not quite sure what team he plays for, but he's just recording it, which is obviously atrocious. And then the third camera view, or the second one, which also is another person just recording it. Something's got to change. I think we as a society need to step up and just notice that and maybe make like I think if we don't call it out, you know, nothing's going to get fixed. The other thing is, I believe that 4 guys have already been suspended from the Michigan State football team. But remind you, Jermaine Burton decided to bash in a young lady's face from the Tennessee fan base, as well as a Tennessee gentleman. He ran into him or hit him, and nothing's happened to him yet. I brought this up in another video past, and nothing was said about that, and it's okay how Saban just like, we handled it our own way. But again, the line of atrociousness is probably a little bit different, but then it goes back to what I was saying. It's like, well, where is the line? So you can go by and you can kind of slap someone in the face, and it's okay, but when you pull your helmet off and start bashing their head in, that's when the line is like, okay, we got to suspend you now. I think we need to go back to and address the Saban situation here. And I don't know what's going on. I feel like a lot of people are starting to dice it up this year. I mean, we got Devontae Adams beating people up, Jermaine Burton, now Michigan State. What's going on with these boys? Everyone's just fired up after the football game. Leave it on the field, boys. And now, you know, Harbaugh's pretty upset about the situation. He's flustered. He's frustrated. He wants to, you know, make sure that something gets done. There's an investigation going on currently. Again, I'm assuming they're going to figure out what happened, who did what was said, what damages were done. How far does it go? With it being a rivalry game, Michigan versus Michigan State, I wouldn't be surprised if Harbaugh took this thing to the cleaners. You know what I'm saying? And brought this thing all the way down to the nitty-gritty and made sure somebody feels it. Somebody's going to feel it. Michigan State's going to feel it. And something's got to change with that exit in Ann Arbor. I think this is going to wake up a little bit of like, hey, we got it. What can we do to avoid this? That's always going to be that second part of the investigation, is how can we avoid this in the future? And something's got to change. I think there's always been like a little bit of a history there of scruffles going down in that exit from that stadium, and especially in a rivalry game. I mean, imagine if Florida State, or Bama and LSU and Auburn had to leave out of the same one, or Texas A&M, Jimbo and Saban had to leave out of the same. Go into the same tunnel. It wouldn't end that well, okay? So something's got to change for sure in that situation. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Is this okay? Is this boys just being boys? A little scruffle duffle? Is it uncalled for? Was it way over the top? Should something be done? So how many games should the person be, the guys that were involved, be suspended? Should the Michigan player be suspended for a game? I mean, for instigating, right? I mean, clearly he ran around. I think there is something to be said about that. Look, you may have not done anything completely wrong, but you definitely put yourself into the hornet's nest and you went and kicked it a little bit and got it stirred up. I think at this point, each party is accountable. It's not like the fan situation, right? You both are in the same boat. I definitely think a game suspension probably will come to the Michigan player, and then we'll have a 2 or 3 game suspension to the Michigan State player. I think that would be the best way to handle the situation, in my opinion. But this is the Fans Channel. You guys let us know down in the comments what you think. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tune in on Wednesday when we go live every Wednesday at 8:35 with me and Holly. Until next time.